Tom Kruba from the RRG wanted me to talk about MetFix, and there's people asking the RRG for coverage on that, but I think these conversations scared him off. But I want to take it just a second, if I can. Can I? It's a big shift.
No. Yeah. Gear shift. Yeah, let's do it.
Look, here's the underlying reality of what happens in a CrossFit gym and health. The experienced affiliate has seen and knows firsthand, empirically, though he may not express it so succinctly, but the Western medicine's well-accepted universal parameterization of health metrics has a bunch of factors, components, variables, blood pressure, triglycerides, body fat, on and on, A1C, on and on and on. And they're treated as though they were independent variables, and they are manipulated in the hopes of producing a health outcome. And each of these variables is either sufficient for diagnosis of chronic disease, known to be a harbinger or predictor of chronic disease, or is a cause of chronic disease, or, and very often all three, sign, predictor, and causal of chronic disease like blood pressure. But when we treat these independently, we're denying the underlying reality, which is that they are, in fact, the dependent variables of lifestyle choices. And to attempt to create health in an organism by working these dependent variables as though they were independent has all the effect and charm of hammering on the speedometer of a runaway train to stop its impending doom. It does not work, but it's hugely profitable. And you can run an affiliate and have very little awareness of that. In fact, it's surprising to see that awareness in a 1, 2, 3, 4-year affiliate, but the 10-year affiliates all know it. And what we're providing at MetFix is the understanding, the rationale, the language, the underlying mechanisms, and support for those realize that there's a lot more than fitness going on in the box. And the notion that this is competition to what's happening at the L1 or in the CrossFit community is absolutely absurd. It's no more competition than it is when you get your degree in biology from University of Utah and then get accepted at Johns Hopkins Medical School. You don't have to denounce the biology you learned. You're not in competition with what you learned in biology at Utah State. You're just taking it to the next level. And this is important to do because the mothership has no interest in it, has made that perfectly clear. And I understand the financial imperatives that make that so. I never went down this road of these affiliates sit in unique possession of the world's most vexing problem because it was profitable for me. I knew it would bring me trouble. It did bring me trouble. I don't know of anyone that's spoken honestly on chronic disease anywhere that's got any kind of audience that hasn't all of a sudden found the New York Times up their ass calling them horrible things. So that's just, we all know that's what happens. And I'm fortunately in a position, again, where I can do things because they're the right thing to do. And I don't have anyone standing over me telling, hey, the New York Times is going to write bad shit about you. They just did again last week. But I'm going to do it anyways. And maybe the more they do that kind of thing, the more adamant I'm going to be about this. But the MetFix affiliation is the graduate level CrossFit covering covering some cute little boy, covering some critical turf that has been abdicated completely by CF Inc. And I don't fault them for it. If they can just not dilute the method of the push press, of the deadlift, if they can continue to talk about constantly varied functional movement, if they can stay true to the fundamental theorem of CrossFit, and that is that constantly varied high-intensity functional movement increases work capacity across broad time and modal domains, we can take the part they can't touch, and that is that your health metrics and your health are governed by lifestyle choices, not the parameterization of diagnostic medicine.
Greg, the train analogy you gave, you're basically saying you're in a runaway train and you think you're going to stop it by breaking the glass and using your finger to pull back the speedometer. And it's like, dude, that
That's
has
right.
nothing to, that has
The
nothing to
conductor
do.
goes, oh my God, we're going to die. It's going to 120. And someone takes out a hammer and hits the speedometer and puts it back to the speed you want.
And
That's
because now the speedometer says,
not in every case. If you got malignant hypertension and you refuse to, let me give you a simple. If you got malignant hypertension, you refuse to do anything about it in terms of the causes of that, then yes, take the antihypertensive. If you have a sodium retention problem due to your hyperglycemia, and your inability to clear sodium because of aldosterone being inhibited by insulin at the kidney level, and you're saying, I am not going to lower my blood sugar, what should I do? And I go, well, I guess I'd lower my salt intake. If you go, that's what's causing it, an elevated blood sugar, and you go, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to quit eating I'm going to lower my blood sugar. What I'm going to tell you is you better be careful because you're going to have to salt your food. That's not that complicated. It's just complicated enough to be impossible for doctors, public health officials, and the CDC. But not for a trainer with a brain.
And that's what I was going to ask you after. Can you give an example of independent versus dependent variables? And that was the example.
I give you one that that taking antihypertensives to lower your blood pressure is fraught with iatrogenic consequences. There's problems, side effects. What we get when we go at the root cause, we get a better cure, a better solution, more efficacious. And instead of the specter of side effect, what we get is side benefit, which you rarely get from a drug. It's the miracle drug, like Viagra was an antihypertensive that had this side effect of creating abnormally large and long-lasting erections, and so its primary effect was ignored. Those are miracles. That's like the positive mutation. You don't see a lot of that. They're memorable when they occur, but with most medications, especially in combination, most attempts at treating chronic disease symptomatically are fraught with ineffectual iatrogenic illness and at best kind of a sustained state. We ended up with 26 million people with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease due to pharmaceutical intervention that would have been dead just 15 years prior to that. No one ever got chronic COPD that bad as people had it now. And then COVID came along and they all got wiped out. With COPD, your survival rate 5 days on a ventilator is it's like 5 to 10%. Every time you open a ventilator when someone's COPD and put them on it, you know it's going to kill them. You also know the hospital just got $40,000 for you ripping the bag.
Going back to the train thing, also that's people not believing their lying eyes, right? So basically, you pull the speedometer back to 0, the train's still doing 120, but you're believing your doctor is like, nope, it's cool, it says 0, we're good. But you can look out the window and be like, oh shit. But people don't do that.
Look at cancer treatment in mass. The closer you get, the more you look at it, the worse it looks. It will be seen someday as a barbarism.
How about when we saw Seafried speak at the Broken Science event you had at Emily Kaplan's house? Seafried said something that kind of blew me out of that he doesn't even view. He said something about stage 4 cancer. Like in his model, there's not even a stage 4 cancer. Do you remember that part?
No.
Oh.
But I mean, look at what he's doing. And in disclaimer, I fund I fund most of it. It's not most of it in terms of the amount he's gotten, but he never asks for funds that I don't pony up and get my name put on them. I don't do that thinking it's going to do me any good. I do it because it's the right thing to do. Right. And in fact, I know it puts me on a hit list.
To be in a relationship with someone who's doing something that could undermine pharma's multi-trillion-dollar industry.
When I spoke at Boston University at Tom's behalf to the broader life sciences there, the hostility was overwhelming. And I was shocked by it. It was laughable. And I got into some pretty good debates. We have it on video. But I stood up there slugging it out with really a room full of fucking idiots. And afterwards, Thomas was laughing really hard. And the guy that invited me is a CrossFitter, and he says, and he's director of research at Boston U, and he said that the thing he spends the most time at Boston University is protecting Thomas Seyfried from pharma interests embedded in the other faculty at the university. So as soon as hey, Tom Seyfried has his friend here to talk about chronic disease, I mean, I couldn't even get started when hands are going up calling bullshit. Like, I haven't even said anything yet, man.
Yeah.
They both thought it was funny, and then that made it funny for me. But
Right.
Tom's like, see, and in his pirate voice, arr,
Yeah.
arr, 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 arr. That's what I live with.
I'm so surprised that Seyfried hasn't been paraded around. That he's not like a TikTok or Instagram famous with all of the great things he said. I mean, I'm surprised that
would not let him survive.
I just can't believe. I mean, you have so many pop doctors doing the podcast circuit, and I'm just